Does that answer your question? Yes.
I was just wondering, is there a fine line between knowingly deviating and maybe a deviation because of out of weakness?
That's a very good question. Non-deviation, deviation out of weakness. Well, I'll tell you the way I understand the difference. And it's with the fall-down sequence. So the fall-down sequence is first there's what? Contemplation, then attachment, then lust, then anger, then bewilderment, and then complete fall-down. So the devotee, a neophyte devotee, doesn't recognize that they're falling down until they fall down. Sometimes they don't recognize they've fallen down until a long time after they've fallen down. You know, they're yelling at the other devotees, they're spaced out in their japa, and they don't even know, they're not even aware. They're eating prasadam just with the same consciousness as we feed it to the turkeys out there. You know, this is just my food, it tastes good. And they're not even conscious that they're in a fallen condition. So it may be, I haven't thought about Krishna for the last 3 years, kind of thing. You know, kind of dawns on the person later. So as one advances in Krishna consciousness, one's vision becomes clearer. One becomes clearer, and one can start to see Maya from like further and further away. The materialistic people don't know they're Maya at all. They're swimming in Maya and they don't know. When we come to Krishna consciousness, again, you start to you can see it sometimes when you're right in the middle of it. But gradually you see her from she's a little bit distant. So maybe you'll start seeing at the anger stage. After you get angry, I was in Maya. Or after your memory was bewildered. And then after a while you can start seeing Maya after your lust doesn't just mean sexual lust, it's an intense hankering. And lust is like, I want something so much that I don't care what the consequences are. Something like our former American President, Bill Clinton, you know, I want a relationship with this intern so much, I don't care if I lose being President of the United States. I mean, be President of the United States, and for some relationship with a woman, you're going to lose being President of the United States. So that's lust. Lust is, I don't care what I lose. I want this thing. I don't care what it costs. But when we feel that way about Krishna, we go back to Godhead. I just want Krishna. I don't care what it costs. I don't care what I have to pay. I don't care, if Krishna makes me poor and ugly and sick and whatever. It doesn't matter if that's the cost I'll pay. I just want Krishna. So when we feel that way towards something material, that's lust. So devotee may notice that after it's at that point, and as one advances, one will notice it after attachment. And when one really advances, one notices even before contemplation. So as soon as there's some thought, I don't want to contemplate that. So the more neophyte you are, the further you go into fall down before you're even aware of it. So that's weakness. You like a devotee said to Prabhupada, sometimes we fall into Maya. Prabhupada said, no, you're always in Maya, sometimes you fall into Krishna. So, we're not even aware that we're in Maya. So that kind of fall down by a neophyte devotee, that they don't even know that they've fallen down until after they've fallen down, that's circumstantial. That's weakness. That's not happening. But you're supposed to be becoming advanced so that doesn't happen so much. You're not supposed to stay in that position. But intentional is you sit down and you say, okay, I'm going to go do this. I'm going to do this. And I know it's wrong, and my spiritual masters told me it's wrong, the devotees have told me it's wrong, it says in the scripture it's wrong, and I don't care. I'm just going to do it. So that kind of thing is very dangerous. Krishna can save you even from that kind of thing. When we do that sort of thing, we're walking out of Krishna's protection. It's kind of like you're under this big umbrella and you say, I'm going to go out in the rain. With the others, you're still under the umbrella. Krishna still take care of you. It's expected that a neophyte is not going to recognize Maya in an early stage. I mean, what's surprising is someone like Bart should recognize Maya in the early stage. That's very surprising. That's very unusual circumstance. That it went past the contemplation stage to the attachment stage. I like that. That he didn't, out of pride, that he didn't go to his guru and say, I'm having a problem here. It's explained in the Bhagavatam that he knew that he was falling. See, that's the difference between someone like Bharat and someone on a more neophyte platform. On a neophyte, they don't even know they're falling. In fact, the neophyte may even think that it's part of their service. I run into this all the time. Blaspheming devotees is my service. It sounds real funny, but that's exactly the way people think. Just got an email like that from me. Devotee wrote me an email. How can I tear so-and-so devotee to shreds? It's just supposed to go, that worded, tear him to shreds. So I wrote back and I said, you have a lot of accumulated Shakti from all of your years of devotional service. Do you really want to spend it on tearing somebody to shreds? And the devotee wrote back, I'm convinced that this is what Krishna wants me to do. And I thought, it sure ain't what Krishna wants you to do. This is Maya putting something in front of you to divert your attention and see whether or not you fall for it. So it happens all the time. To serve Prabhupada, I gotta really, attack the GBC, attack the Temple presidents, attack Prabhupada's movement, and that's my service to Prabhupada to purify everything. So we can think it's service. The best way I can advance in Krishna consciousness is to really start to loosen up on my rounds. It's too much for me. Too intense for me. Back off a little bit, see a few movies, and that way I'll advance better. But people are thinking that their nonsense, we're so covered that we're thinking that our nonsense is service. And I've done that. I thought my nonsense was service. I thought, oh, this is some wonderful thing I'm offering to Prabhupada, and then I realized it's just envy. Mahatma Guru wrote an article about that. How he was writing this paper criticizing the leadership, and he realized that it was all envy. So that kind of thing. So anyway, neophyte who just doesn't understand these things, that's not taken very seriously. Just like a very young child, just like this very young child is causing a disturbance, but he doesn't know he's causing a disturbance. So it's not taken seriously. But one is expected to mature. So when we expect that the beginning devotee is pretty much almost always going to be in Maya and almost always going to be in a fallen condition and not even be aware of it, and they're going to think, according to Vishnu Thakur, that they're a great devotee. Oh, I'm almost pure devotee. 2 more months of chanting Hare Krishna, and I'm going to be seeing Krishna and that. But gradually, we should be able. Oh, wait a minute, that's Maya. We should start to be able to distinguish what is Maya before we're hit with it, and then we have more and more responsibility. And then the circumstantial fall down becomes less and less of a possibility. It becomes, as we advance, the only kind of fall down we can make becomes intentional. Because we now know what is Maya and what is Krishna. But it's interesting, Prabhupada's talking about fall down here. He's not really talking about it in the sense that we often use the word fall down. He's talking about being put in a circumstance where it appears that Krishna consciousness is difficult or is independent. By the examples that he's giving, one can see that he's not talking about somebody going out and stealing or something, or giving up Krishna's service or something. The context is different. But does that help?
Yeah.
So we could say the difference between weakness and unintentional circumstantial fall down is to what extent one is aware of what one's doing.